Have you ever wondered why the world seems full of people who test your patience every single day? That work meeting that was supposed to be productive but turns into a battlefield of inflated egos? That driver who cuts you off and then yells at you as if you were the one in the wrong? Or maybe it's someone closer, a friend, a relative, someone who manages to drain your energy just by existing. But is it just your imagination, or is the world really overrun by idiots? Robert Sutton, the author of the book that inspired this video, says it's not just in your head. Idiots exist, they're everywhere, and worse, they thrive in environments that encourage their toxic behavior. And if you feel surrounded by them, trust me, you're not alone. The real question isn't just how to spot them, but how to deal with them without losing your sanity. Because if you've ever spent nights replaying pointless arguments or felt your energy drained from a simple encounter with a toxic person, you know this struggle isn't just about handling others, it's about protecting your own peace. Mark Twain once said, "Never argue with an idiot. He will drag you down to his level and beat you with experience." And that makes sense. But what if you don't have a choice? What if the idiot in question is your boss, or a family member, or that coworker who seems to feed off your patience? The problem with idiots isn't just the temporary annoyance they cause, it's the lasting impact they leave behind. They can destroy your productivity, chip away at your self-esteem, and turn entire environments into emotional minefields. And no, this video isn't just going to list types of idiots or turn into a collective rant, because complaining about them won't make them disappear. The goal here is to give you a survival guide, a strategy to deal with these people without falling into their trap. We're going to explore how to recognize them, how to neutralize their impact, and most importantly, how to protect your sanity in a world that often feels like a playground for toxic people. So if you've ever felt surrounded by people who seem programmed to push your limits, stay with me, because understanding how the minds of fools work and learning how to deal with them can be the difference between living in peace or spending the rest of your life trapped by other people's toxicity. What defines an idiot? This question may seem to have an obvious answer, but the truth is that idiots don't come in just one form. The problem is that while you can instantly recognize a rude individual, some idiots operate in more subtle ways, and those are the most dangerous ones. Robert Sutton defines an idiot as someone who constantly makes others feel humiliated, diminished, or emotionally drained. But he also reminds us that not every annoying person deserves that label. We all have bad days. We've all made social mistakes. The difference between an occasional idiot and a professional one lies in the repetition of the behavior and the intention behind it. They're not just folklore figures in your office or family. They are individuals who, consciously or unconsciously, sabotage environments, drain others' energy, and spread their poison wherever they go. You've encountered some of them. The boss who loves humiliating employees in public meetings. The coworker who smiles to your face but does everything to undermine you. The friend who always has a passive-aggressive comment about everything you do. The relative who enjoys making you feel inferior at family gatherings. Idiots operate in different categories. There's the classic kiss-up, kick-down type who treats superiors like gods and subordinates like trash. Then we have the spotlight stealer. The one who monopolizes meetings, does everything to stay in the limelight, and never acknowledges anyone else's contributions. And of course, we can't forget the gaslighters, experts at manipulating your perception of reality until you start doubting your own sanity. There are also credit thieves, unbearable micromanagers, and those who simply turn any environment into an emotional battlefield. But the most dangerous of all is the one who goes unnoticed. The idiot who doesn't yell or openly offend, but slowly wears you down from the inside. The boss who never praises you but always makes sure to highlight your mistakes. The friend who constantly makes jokes at your expense and when you complain, replies with, "Relax, you take everything too seriously." They are the masters of destabilization, experts at keeping your self-esteem just one step below where it should be. And here lies the great trap. We don't always realize when we're in the presence of an idiot. That's because their behavior can be subtle, gradual, and even normalized by the environment. Many companies, for example, are structured in a way that rewards idiots. Abusive bosses get promoted because they deliver results. Manipulative colleagues thrive because they know how to navigate office politics. This creates an ecosystem where toxicity multiplies and becomes part of the culture. But there's one crucial thing Sutton teaches us. Identifying an idiot isn't just about pointing fingers at the culprits, it's also about recognizing the effects they have on you. Because the uncomfortable truth is that if you spend too much time around idiots, you may start to absorb some of their behavior. You might begin to normalize abuse. You might become cynical, irritable, defensive. You might even, without realizing it, start acting the same way. That's why the first step to dealing with idiots is recognizing them for what they are. if someone frequently makes you feel small, if their presence affects your mood, if you have to mentally prepare yourself for interactions with them, then maybe you've identified an idiot in your life. Now the question is, how do you deal with it? And more importantly, how do you prevent their toxicity from becoming your own? Living with idiots isn't just annoying, it's harmful to your health. And no, that's not an exaggeration. The toxic behavior of these people doesn't just ruin your day, it can compromise your physical and mental well-being in the long run. Studies show that continuous exposure to negative environments can increase chronic stress levels, raise blood pressure, and even shorten life expectancy. In other words, that passive-aggressive coworker who provokes you daily isn't just ruining your mood. He might literally be shortening your life. The toxicity of idiots isn't limited to fleeting moments of irritation. Have you ever finished a conversation with someone and felt as if all your energy had been drained? As if somehow that person had stolen a piece of your sanity? This happens because negative interactions activate our emotional defense system, releasing cortisol, the stress hormone. If this happens occasionally, it's fine. Your body can handle it. But when exposure is constant, your brain starts operating in a permanent state of alert, affecting your sleep, concentration, and even your ability to make rational decisions. The impact of idiots extends to other areas of your life. Research conducted by organizational psychologists has shown that employees who work in toxic environments often carry that stress home, affecting their relationships and even their self-confidence. You may start doubting your abilities, feeling less motivated, and over time, losing the desire to interact with people, even those who have nothing to do with the toxicity affecting you. Moreover, when you're surrounded by idiots, your own behavior can change without you even realizing it. Sutton explains that negativity is contagious. If an environment is dominated by manipulative and aggressive people, even those who aren't naturally that way may start developing defensive behaviors, becoming more reactive, distrustful, and in some cases, even hostile. It's as if toxicity were an invisible smoke you breathe in without noticing, until one day, you look in the mirror and no longer recognize the person you've become. Another crucial point, the mental energy you spend dealing with idiots could be used for something far more productive. How many times have you wasted time mentally rehearsing responses to a toxic person? How many hours have you spent replaying pointless arguments? When you allow idiots to take up space in your mind, you're giving them a power they should never have had. As Eleanor Roosevelt once said, "No one can make you feel inferior without your consent." Of course, all of this is easier said than done, because when you're dealing with a daily idiot, whether at work, in your family, or even in social circles, simply ignoring them isn't enough. You need to develop strategies to minimize the impact these people have on you. After all, if being around idiots can steal your peace, learning how to outmaneuver them might be the key to getting it back. Take a moment to reflect. Who are the idiots draining your energy today? And more importantly, how can you start protecting yourself from them before they take an even bigger toll on your sanity? If you've made it this far, you've probably realized that dealing with idiots isn't just annoying, it's a threat to your mental sanity. But now what? How do you handle these people without getting sucked into the chaos they create? The secret isn't about beating them at their own game, it's about learning how to neutralize them without draining your energy. The best way to outmaneuver an idiot isn't to confront them head-on, but to make them irrelevant in your life. The first strategy is one of the most powerful yet least used: calculated indifference. Idiots thrive on reactions. They live to provoke, irritate, manipulate, and watch the impact they have on others. When you respond to their provocations with anger, frustration, or indignation, you're giving them exactly what they want. But when you treat their words and actions as irrelevant, something magical happens. They lose their power over you. This doesn't mean ignoring everything all the time, but rather choosing your battles wisely. Ask yourself, does this person really deserve my energy? What do I gain by responding? More often than not, the answer is nothing. Another essential technique is strategic emotional control. One of the most common mistakes when dealing with idiots is acting on impulse. You feel the urge to immediately respond to a sarcastic comment, an unfair criticism, or an arrogant attitude, but Sutton teaches us that patience and silence can be far more effective weapons than any sharp comeback. When you don't rush to respond, you maintain control of the situation. Pause, take a deep breath, and reply only if absolutely necessary, and preferably in a calm, objective manner. Nothing disarms an idiot more than realizing they didn't manage to shake you. If the toxic person is part of your daily routine and unavoidable, like a coworker or a boss, then you need a psychological shield. Sutton suggests viewing these interactions as a mental game. Picture the person as a predictable character who always behaves the same way. This reduces the emotional impact of their words and actions. Instead of thinking, "This person is attacking me," think, "Here comes that same ridiculous behavior again." Creating a certain emotional detachment can prevent their poison from affecting you. But what happens when toxicity becomes unbearable? Is there a point where confrontation is inevitable? The answer is yes, but it needs to be done strategically. Never confront an idiot expecting them to change, because they won't. Instead, confront them to set boundaries. Be direct, leaving no room for misinterpretation, something like, "I will no longer accept these kinds of comments," or, "If you keep acting this way, I won't take part in this conversation." The key here is not to over-explain yourself. Idiots love debates because they give them room to twist things around. Be brief, firm, and shut the conversation down. Moreover, a powerful tool that few people use is strategic humor. Idiots take themselves way too seriously, and a good dose of irony or sarcasm can throw them off completely. Imagine a boss who always tries to belittle you in public, saying something like, "Oh, do you think you'll actually meet the deadline this time?" Instead of justifying yourself, you smile and reply, "Well, I'll do my best, but if it doesn't work out, at least I can say I learned from you." Not only do you respond, but you also turn the jab back on them without losing your composure. And finally, there's the ultimate solution: smart distancing. If you're in an environment where toxicity is the norm rather than the exception, you seriously need to consider leaving. This could mean changing departments, cutting ties, or even looking for a new job. Yes, this isn't always an immediate option, but Sutton makes it clear that the only 100% effective way to get rid of an idiot is to remove them from your life or remove yourself from the situation. No paycheck, friendship, or obligation is worth sacrificing your peace of mind. Dealing with idiots isn't about beating them, it's about making sure they don't beat you. Choose your battles wisely, protect your energy, and remember, the best way to defeat an idiot is simply not to play their game. This might be the trickiest question when dealing with idiots. To what extent is it worth responding? At what point does ignoring toxic behavior stop being a strategic choice and become surrender? Can fighting back be effective, or does it only feed into more negativity? The answer isn't simple, but Sutton gives us a fundamental principle. Don't waste your energy on idiots who can't be fixed. The truth is, there are different levels of idiots. Some are just temporary nuisances easily ignored without major consequences. But others are masters of manipulation, emotional predators who thrive on asserting dominance over others. In these cases, silence can be interpreted as weakness. That's why the key isn't just deciding whether to confront or ignore, but rather knowing which strategy to use in each situation. When should you ignore? Ignoring an idiot is the best option when the interaction has no real consequences for you. If it's a random stranger on the internet trying to provoke you, a coworker whose comment doesn't affect your reputation, or a distant acquaintance throwing empty jabs, the best thing you can do is not play their game. Silence in these cases is a way of showing that you don't care, and nothing frustrates an idiot more than realizing they failed to make an impact. But there are times when ignoring can be dangerous. If an idiot in your workplace is trying to discredit you, spreading rumors, or undermining your authority, staying quiet will only give them more space. If someone uses passive aggressiveness or subtle humiliation tactics to put you down, ignoring them might be seen as acceptance. And if a friend or family member repeatedly crosses your boundaries, silence may only reinforce the cycle. So when should you confront? Confronting an idiot doesn't mean engaging in an emotional battle. If you lose your temper, they've already won. The ideal confrontation is cold, calculated, and fact-based. Sutton suggests that, whenever possible, publicly exposing someone's idiocy is one of the most effective ways to disarm them. Imagine a coworker trying to take credit for your work in a meeting. Instead of arguing or making a scene, you can simply say, naturally, "I'm glad you liked my idea. I developed this concept after a lot of research, and I'm happy to see it being well received." No aggression, no fights, just a clear statement that neutralizes the attempted theft. Another crucial factor when deciding whether to fight back is power. Who is the idiot in the hierarchy of your life? If it's a direct superior at work, an open confrontation might have negative consequences, and the best strategy could be documenting their abuses and seeking support elsewhere. If it's someone at your same level, a strategic response may be enough to set boundaries, and if it's someone below you in the power hierarchy, it's essential to be careful not to stoop to their level. But there's a detail that few people consider when choosing between ignoring or confronting. Your peace of mind is worth more than being right. Sometimes it doesn't matter who's right. The emotional toll of staying engaged in a fight with an idiot can be greater than simply walking away. Sutton reminds us that some battles are worth fighting, while others only serve to wear you down. The question you should ask yourself is, will confronting this person actually change anything, or will it just trap me further in this cycle of toxicity? A powerful technique that can be used when fighting back is the mirror effect. If an idiot keeps interrupting you, interrupt them just as much and say with a smile, "Do you like being interrupted? No? Then let's try having a conversation without that." If someone uses sarcasm to belittle you, return the same tone, calculated and precise. The key is to never show that you're emotionally affected, because if an idiot senses they've managed to shake you, they'll keep going. In the end, the best way to beat an idiot isn't to destroy them. It's to make them insignificant. Whether or not you respond should always be your choice, based on what benefits your sanity rather than just the urge to get even. True power isn't about winning pointless arguments, but about controlling where you invest your energy. So ask yourself, does this person really deserve a response? Or is the best revenge simply not allowing them to take up any more space in your life? After identifying, dodging, and when necessary, confronting idiots, one crucial question remains. How do you reclaim your peace of mind? How do you prevent the toxicity of others from continuing to contaminate your life? The answer isn't about changing the world, because there will always be idiots out there, but about creating a mental and emotional space where they have no influence over you. The first key to this rebuilding process is understanding that you don't have to win every battle. At some point, you must accept that some people simply won't change, that some arguments will never have a satisfying resolution, and that your energy is a limited resource. More often than not, maintaining your sanity comes from letting go and moving on. This isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Another essential factor is choosing the people around you carefully. If you've spent years dealing with idiots, you might have grown accustomed to relationships where irony, passive aggressiveness, and disrespect are the norm. But that doesn't have to be your reality. You can and should cultivate relationships built on genuine respect, support, and understanding. Don't settle for anything less. Additionally, Sutton teaches us that one of the most effective ways to neutralize the impact of idiots in our lives is to strengthen our emotional resilience. This means learning to filter out unfair criticism, building solid self-esteem, and developing a sharp sense of humor so you don't take everything too seriously. After all, the problem isn't always the idiot himself, but rather the space we allow him to occupy in our minds. Another crucial point is setting clear boundaries. Many people suffer at the hands of idiots because they struggle to say no or to cut off interactions that do them harm. But remember, no one can treat you poorly without your continued permission. Whenever someone crosses your boundaries, call it out. If they persist, reduce contact. And if the environment becomes unbearable, leave. You don't have to stay in a space that drains your energy. Sutton also warns us about something few people consider: taking care of your own attitude so you don't unknowingly become an idiot yourself. Yes, because the danger of dealing with toxic people is that, over time, you might absorb some of their behavior. Have you ever noticed that after spending too much time in a negative environment, your patience wears thin, that you start responding in kind? That's the cycle of toxicity, and breaking free from it requires self-awareness. Ask yourself, am I reacting to an idiot or am I becoming one? Ultimately, the definitive way to regain your sanity is to shift your focus. The more you think and talk about idiots, the more space they take up in your life. The best way to beat them isn't just to ignore them, but to build something so positive, so fulfilling, that their presence becomes irrelevant. Invest in what makes you happy, in the people who uplift you, and in a purpose that goes beyond merely surviving the chaos. At the end of the day, idiots only have the power you allow them to have. When you learn to control them, you realize that the greatest trick of all isn't defeating them, it's making them completely irrelevant. If you've made it this far, congratulations. It means that, in some way, you're committed to protecting your sanity and no longer letting idiots have power over your life. And that's a journey that few have the courage to take. Because let's be honest, it's much easier to complain about idiots than to learn how to deal with them. It's more comfortable to keep getting annoyed than to develop strategies to neutralize their impact. But now you have the tools. Robert Sutton showed us that idiots will always exist. At work, in the family, in social circles. What changes is how you choose to interact with them. You can keep reacting the same way, wearing yourself out and letting their toxicity affect you, or you can choose a different path, ignoring strategically, responding intelligently, and, whenever possible, distancing yourself from what doesn't serve you. You can hold on to anger and resentment, or you can simply let go and move on. The most important thing to remember is that your peace of mind is worth more than any argument. Not every idiot deserves your response. Not every battle needs to be won. And at the end of the day, true power isn't about winning a debate. It's about not needing to enter one. Now, I want to hear from you. What's the worst experience you've ever had with an idiot? How did you handle it? Tell me in the comments because I bet everyone here has at least one story to share. And of course, if this video made sense to you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Not because I'm asking, okay, I am asking, but because this kind of content needs to reach more people who are struggling with other people's stupidity. And before you go, check out these videos popping up on the screen. One of them might help you handle impossible situations even better. But which one? Well, you'll have to click to find out. See you next time, and remember, the best way to beat an idiot is to live well enough that they stop mattering.